Hey everybody, it's Jork. Welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the channel. I appreciate all of you. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to try to keep making videos about Portugal, what it's like to get there, all the changes that happen there, etc., etc. Also apologize for the construction. There's some noise going on in the back where they have a concrete mixer and some other things, so it's pretty loud. So I hope you don't hear much of it in the background. Today I wanted to make this video, and I'm so glad. I'm going to put this article up for you to see. I'm glad this article was made but I'm not happy about what's going on, where there is a brain drain that's happening in Portugal, where a third of new grads from university are heading elsewhere to go find work and go have better living conditions, which to me is interesting, because many people, and ourselves included, when we were immigrants and moving to Portugal, often Portugal's cited by those that are older or retiring as a place with better living conditions. They want to get out of the situation that they're in. Might be conflict, social issues, could be political issues, and moving there for a better life. So it is interesting that the young people from Portuguese that would be leaving to go elsewhere and leave Portugal for a better life. I find that juxtaposition quite fascinating. And many of them are leaving for other European countries because they can just make more. Housing is less, because that's a major concern in Portugal, but they can make more money in most other countries, just based upon how Portugal's progressive tax rates are, as well as salaries, which are just terribly low in many professions. And I don't think anyone's going to really argue with that. Maybe there might be some areas, but just from working there, it's just, the wages are not great. And the reason I'm happy that the article was published is because there isn't a lot of talk about this. But when we lived there, our neighbors in our apartment complex and the people that we got to know are mostly, if not all, native Portuguese. And they were, I would say, almost all age 65 to almost 90. So they were pensioners, they were retired. And when we would ask about, their kids, it was great to be able to learn Portuguese, because often none of them were speaking any English at all, which was good, because then it forced us to communicate and learn, which was awesome. About half their kids didn't live in Portugal. And it didn't matter whether their kids or in many cases grandkids did not live in Portugal, and it didn't matter whether they had a university or degree or not. But if they had some profession of some sort, often they would leave because they could make more money and live better. That was a common theme from talking to neighbors and talking to people up and down the street when we'd see them at snack bars and talk about their kids and what their ambitions are in life. And one of our neighbors, their son is a fisherman, but actually works for a company in Canada. I'm not sure what province, but is a fisherman there and makes multiple times the salary or wage than he would fishing in Portugal. So he's able to have, I guess, a much better life because of that. So it's not just university degrees, doctors and lawyers and accountants, it's other people. And speaking specifically to that as well, the majority of the people in our building, if the kids were not there or grandkids, they were in skilled trades, so construction, building, building things, electrical, plumbing, roofing, those types of trades. And often they were in other parts of Europe, specifically like Switzerland, Luxembourg, Belgium, France. Those were the countries that were most noted that they would be on projects, and they would make 3-4 times the wage as they would be in Portugal working on that same project. And I think of some of those countries as being expensive. In some cases, they were on par with, let's say, Lisbon. Or there would be 3 or 4 people living in a one-bedroom apartment, so it would be cramped. But then they were able to save up their money and either send it back to family in Portugal. But in every case, they were working abroad and enjoying it. We had several projects over the years, apartments that were being renovated, meaning not just apartments, but the whole building. So let's say 6, 9, 12 apartments or flats within a building being redone. And I'd be able to talk to the contractor or the main foreman that was on site. And I would just ask them, how long is it going to take? How many apartments? Do they, how much they're going to try to sell them for? And that person was almost always Portuguese. But the workers that were doing the hard labor and the skilled labor, I'll call it, because they couldn't find as many, he said, yeah, they're all working in other countries, the Portuguese, Angolan, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, other African countries. That's who they were relying on to do some of the heavy lifting of construction, because a lot of the skilled Portuguese were working in other countries for better conditions and a better life. And so that's something that I just wanted to make a quick video about this, because I think it's important that, we think most people are watching video because of immigration and because of thinking about retiring to Portugal, but it is something to think about what Portugal will look like 5, 10, 20 years from now if more of the young people keep leaving and not enough of them stay to kind of either do the work or set up new businesses. It's fascinating. I'm just glad the article was made. I don't know if there's really anything that you can comment on, but if you could, please do. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Enjoy your travels.